Okay, so now we're recording, and we're kicking off the advanced structure class, the strategy of structure. And I hope that you guys will be able to ask questions. If I can't see all the questions coming in, so if somebody can see them and maybe unmute themselves and let me know about them. This is a unique, advanced structure can be unique because it can be on what issue do you have, and it might be different from the next guy. So everybody kind of has, different stuff going on. We're dealing with, we're working with a lot of people. So one person, I heard today from Ashley, she was sharing some of her structure questions with me. And it's going to be very different than the next builder because your unique set of builders are different than anybody else's. All the personalities. And so let me go ahead and get the PowerPoint up and you guys can see as we go. I hope I can see your guys' faces too. I really want to see you guys. Okay, so here we go. Get this guy going. All right, so why is it important? This is just some things randomly that came off my brain. It is so important because your structure, it affects so many things in your business. It affects your bonuses, your rank, your Power 3, your unilevel. What that relates to is it will drive your motivation too. Because if you're not, seeing your rank stay intact, that obviously, that can demotivate somebody and be discouraging. So that's why it's so important that when we're structuring for strength. It also builds belief. It builds belief in us that this is a real viable business, and it builds belief in the people below us as well. So as they start, the thing that builds belief the most is getting that check in the mail. That first check, and that those checks continue to grow. If those checks stay small, then that person's belief level will start to diminish, and that's a risky area for our builders that we want to pull them out of. And the structure helps us see a really strong correlation with our efforts get rewarded if we're structured properly. Because some people might be great enrollers, but if they're not structuring well, they're not going to see that direct impact of a reward for their effort. And that's why it's so important for us to be really aware of our structure and that of our builders as well. Couple things, and I will tell you, this is not a beginning class. I just put a couple things in here as a definition, but we will not even remotely be reviewing the business basic comp plan. So I'm assuming if anybody on this call is beyond that point, because I know probably 95% of you know that, you teach it, and I don't want to bore you and waste your time. So if somebody is brand spanking new that got on this call and does not know that, we are going to make sure we post some basic business Zoom webinars or something so that you guys, whoever are newer, can see that and as the foundation. But the enroller is this person, you have these two gals sitting right here. The one gal is smelling the oil. She's the new gal. Her friend invited her to lunch to smell some oils and talk oils. So that gal, the blonde, would be the enroller, and the other gal would be her new enrollment. So it is key that you keep those enrollments if they are your people that you brought into the oils. It would not make sense for this gal to give that enrollment away right away. Right now, this is her enrollment, and that enrollment can qualify her in the future. It doesn't matter where she places her on her structure, but that personal enrollment will qualify her for future ranks. So it is good to keep those until it's time to gift them over, and there will be a right time to gift those depending on rank advancement. So Anyway, for now, you keep your personal enrollments. This is a term here that I just loved. Sponsor. If you think of SPO, thinking of spot, Peggy Smith taught me that a long, long time ago, and I think that always helped me explain to people what sponsor means. It means the spot they're under, the spot, the place you put them on the structure. It's very different than the enroller. That's just the place. That doesn't mean that person even knows that person. It really doesn't. So if that person's on your top line, you're both the enroller and the sponsor. You personally invited them to learn about oils and enroll, and you also are the spot they're under. If they go under a leg, you're the enroller and someone else is the sponsor. So that's kind of, I like that terminology, spot, sponsor, because it's easy to remember, because that is one thing a newer builder will get confused. And if there's any little trick to helping them remember that term, I feel like it definitely makes things easier for them and smoother. So when it comes to, ooh, sorry about that. Oh man, let's see, I bumped out of this thing. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Shoot. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I have a touchy, it's a touch, everything's a touch. So if you accidentally touch something, everything goes away. So it can be good and bad. So anyway, when we are building a large team, holy smokies, I did it again. Okay, when we're building a large team and we bring new builders into this, we want to really remind them that they are kind of like a recruiter. They're a recruiter for their business. So I always liked that thought of we are recruiters for our business, kind of like an HR department recruits employees for a company. That's what we are. And the way I resonated with this a lot, because I used to have that role in the company I worked with. I was over the finance and HR department, so I would recruit the top executives in the company. And this just stuck with me when I started doTERRA. I immediately really was looking at it from a recruiter standpoint, that we are not just enrolling people to give them oils, get oils into their home, but from a structure standpoint, we're enrolling people to put them into key positions. And the key positions are like kind of when you think of a company, an organization, you know, the traditional company, you're thinking of your top leaders, you know, the executives, and then you think about the people underneath them, the management, and then you're thinking about the hourly workers, maybe the secretary and people like that report to the managers. So kind of in my brain, I was thinking of kind of when we would recruit these executives, that I would have to review all these resumes and start distinguishing between who was a good fit. And I think that if you really think of every personal enrollment you have in that light, you might find it easier to structure with ease, instead of it being like too convoluted and crazy. Just think of, you're looking for the best person for that spot. And okay, so now I'm gonna move. Let's see if I can. All right, so the one thing that that kind of trumps everything when you're looking for a builder is you're looking for someone that has desire to do the business, capable, and committed. Those are key. And I think sometimes we can end up with one of those, but maybe not all of them. And maybe somebody's capable, but they're maybe not showing up and they're not committed. And you can tell because they're not doing anything, or, you know, they're really they just don't attend things, and maybe they're real just kind of out of the loop. So that just shows they're not committed maybe, but they're capable. Or you see the other way around, that maybe somebody really wants to do this. They have a desire, but they don't really have any background or maybe any of those qualities that would help them build a structure. So these are some of the qualities of a potential builder that whenever you have a new personal enrollment, it's fantastic to look at these. This I took from the Launch to Elite and always found that these were very pertinent. And if you have somebody that you enroll and you're trying to figure out if they're maybe a top line person or a second level person, then it's kind of nice to look at this, because I think if they tend to have more than half of these, or say half, they're probably a great top line person. If maybe they only have like one, then maybe they're like a second level person or something. You know what I mean? It gauges you on where you put them. Some of these would be relationship oriented, well connected, influential, you know, open to natural, healthy lifestyle, somebody that's an achiever, a doer, goal oriented, positive, that's key, positive, passionate, motivated, inspiring, abundance mindset. You know, maybe they had a background in sales before, or they're an entrepreneur by spirit, like they're spirited, is starting their own business. Also, this is one that's kind of interesting, but that they're in a phase of life that supports building a business. doTERRA has found on average, the average builders are between the ages of 30 and 50. And that means they're a mother, maybe that's not a brand new mother, you know, like maybe they're not like 25 and has 3 babies, or just maybe not even barely out of college, because those folks are still, you know, kind of getting their feet wet, finding their way, getting into their first jobs. And, you know, somebody a little bit older tends to have a little more maybe professional experience, life experience. They have maybe even a stronger network, and their spouse is critical, because a spouse could be very supportive too. Okay, so, or maybe they're just looking to improve their finances. So these are things to really keep an eye out for. And if they have these qualities, this is great. One thing I did was, when I saw this list in the Launch to Elite guide, I took a picture of it in my phone, because I get a lot of questions on where I should, like, people will ask me, hey, I just enrolled a person, where should I put them? And they're asking me this, and I don't even know that person. What I would do in this case is shoot them the picture of this list and ask them, how many qualities does that person have on this list? Can you say they have more than half, or are they showing that they don't have very many of these qualities? Because that will really help you as their leader guide them into placing them into the best spot for them. If people give us, ask us questions and we don't have this information, it's really hard to give them like an educated guide, you know, educated guidance. It's kind of shooting from the hip if we don't know kind of the qualities of that person. And, you know, a lot of times people say they want to build, but maybe they don't have a lot of these. So this will really help. Okay, this is that sheet from the Launch to Elite. So that's exactly where I got it from. That's in the middle of the Launch to Elite guide. Okay, I see we have some comments coming in. I do not know if they're for me, but I can't see them. Let's see. Can we get a screenshot of this? Yes, I can send you the screenshot from my phone. Okay, great. Everybody's working together. Awesome. Okay, so one thing I have always found critical too, and I have learned my lesson more than once on this, is when you're placing a new builder, or, you know, somebody that wants to build, kind of, if you know their history, just remember that history usually proves that patterns repeat themselves. So if somebody has been successful in their former career or former even roles in the community, maybe it's leadership for a group they're in, if they're successful there, they probably will be successful here too. History often repeats itself. And, you know, on the flip side of that coin, if there's somebody that has struggled in a lot of ways in their life, then there's a good chance that they will continue to repeat that pattern even in doTERRA. So that's just something that I've been told, and I've seen it myself too. And usually, you know, somebody might want to shift a family pattern, maybe they're trying to overcome something, but unless there's a significant change, it might be a limiting belief that might be making them get into that pattern. Unless some significant change occurs, the pattern will continue to repeat. So if you have someone that comes to you that wants to build, but you've seen their history, you can tell, you can almost predict if they're going to be successful in doTERRA. Okay, let's see, what next? All right, so this is also important. Now this here is for you guys who are, you know, bringing on builders. It's super important when you launch a new builder that you are keeping an eye out on their structure. You know, when they're enrolling people, you're keeping an eye out for potential builders as they enroll people, because you want to be able to recommend placements for them. You're going to want to be in there, and you don't want them to make a lot of mistakes early on that structure for the reasons that we kind of went over at the beginning. You want them to have super success right out the gate and start getting even that 50 power of 3 if possible. So keep an eye out for potential builders. If they do not discover those builders early, they're going to end up with this huge pancake of wholesale customers. And I know everybody's probably seen this before. And that's definitely not what we want. That long line of top line wholesale customers is not what we want. We want to find builders so that we can place wholesale customers under builders. You know, they may not be as keen on builder qualities as you are. You have experience. You know, you've seen the qualities of builders through your experience. And if you need that just little like reminder, the screen we had on the 2 slides ago was kind of that reminder to us all of what makes a great builder. So let's see, I think I covered all that. All right, so you guys know what it takes to build to elite. You know, that's 3,000 OV. Most of you guys I see on here are way beyond that. Some of you guys are there and just right now going towards Premier. So we have a variety in this group right now, but this is no matter where you are right now, whether you're an elite or you're a gold or you're a platinum or a diamond, the thing to remember is we are always building elites. Whether or not we're building to silver, that takes 3 elites, or we're building to platinum, that takes 9, diamond takes 12, you know, and so on. Presidential diamond takes 54 elites. It's all based on elites. So if you keep that in mind, you realize that it's really not that hard. You just have more players involved. You have to take on a bigger capacity to be able to see more parts, because you have different players and there are all these elites all under you. So that's just, let's see, I see Kathy raising her hand. So hi, are you raising it to me or to somebody else?
No.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
I wanted to ask you something. Yeah.
Yes.
Where you show all these elites, do they all need to be on your top line or just anywhere in your organization?
Anywhere. So yes, if you place them under another leg and they're your enrollment, you know, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But they do need to, like for silver, you would need to have those 3 elites for your silver. Yes. And platinum needs 3 silvers. So basically the 3 silvers of yours would need their own 3 elites. But yeah, each rank, you do need your qualifiers and they need their qualifiers. So yeah, if you're looking at your current goal, are you going for elite or premier?
Well, I was going for Premier, but
Okay.
by the end of the year, but that's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, you never know. You never know, and it could very well happen. So, sometimes you don't want to never say never, right? Anyway, yeah, in that case, you would need two and two separate legs, two executives for your premier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that are personally enrolled. So anyway, what helps a lot is when you write it out. I know it's something to do from time to time because it's easy to get a little lost by looking at the back office. If you're looking at a structure on the back office, it's really easy to overlook glaring things. So I like to whip out a notebook or take the whiteboard, erase it, and if I'm looking at a specific person and trying to help them with their goal, I will just write their name at the top and literally fill in, if somebody's going for platinum, I'll write their name at the top and their 3 silvers. And 3 silvers, each of them have 3 elites under them. So basically, if I'm looking at somebody's platinum organization, I'm looking at 9 elites, 9 separate elites. That is very helpful. And I would highly recommend that because seriously, it gets way too crazy looking at the back office. Unless you're like brand new and you just have a few people, right away it will get out of your just too challenging to take in looking at that way, especially if you have qualifiers that are not on your top line. Like Kathy said, what if you enrolled somebody and put them under someone? That might be your qualifier. That might be that person. If for platinum, that silver that you own the enrollment of might be on your 2nd or 3rd level, and that's okay. So definitely looking at the back office would be really challenging to see all that. So write it out, and that will help, especially when you're tracking their volume, to see where they're at, to see how far they have left to go to hit a certain rank. Okay, this is super duper important. So this is one of those that I have seen way too many times, more times than I'd like to remember, of people accidentally not moving their people in 14 days. Have you guys seen that before? Like, or is it just me? So the 14-day move is so critical. And I don't think people, especially new builders, realize how critical it is, that they don't they don't end up with these users accidentally stuck on their top line. That wholesale customer won't do much for their organization on their top line if it's a wholesale customer. I mean, it may give them a little extra for their 50 Power 3, but that's not why people do doTERRA. They don't, if they're doing it as a business, they're not doing it for just the monthly $50 Power 3. They're doing it, if they're really doing it, they're at minimum wanting to get their oils paid for, and $50 isn't enough. I see, I think, more questions coming in. Let me see, make sure that's okay. Really good PowerPoint. Use HubSpot to oh, that's a great point, Dad. So Dennis mentioned you can use HubSpot to schedule your follow-up within 14 days. HubSpot is amazing for that. You can put their name in. It sends you an email reminder. You can set the date. So like in a week, it reminds you through email, hey, remember to move these people. Please don't waste this opportunity. Every personal enrollment is an opportunity to strengthen your team. Personal enrollments are gold. Gold, gold, gold. Every single one we get has the ability to strengthen our team. And if you're not sure where to put the person, seek counsel go up, go cross line, who knows, go outside the organization, go up line, wherever you need to go if you feel uncomfortable making that decision on where they should go. Sometimes there are critical decisions. It never stops. It doesn't matter whether you're going for premier, for silver, for diamond, it doesn't matter. These placements, it's okay to seek counsel. That is a fine thing to do, and it will give you peace of mind. So anyway, hopefully I drove that point home. So, okay. Let's see here. My computer is giving me fits. Okay, there we go. So like I said, every enrollment we have gives us an opportunity to strengthen our team. And I used to use words that I think were affecting my mindset, like, oh, now I have to put them in weak spots. Have you ever, thought of it that way? Like, oh boy, I have these weak spots that I have to put my people under so I can maintain my rank, and then all of a sudden, if you even say the word weak, doesn't it give you like a pit in your stomach? Victoria, what are you doing? So anyway, that word weak messes us up mentally. So I think it's best to not even say that word. Use the word, where does my team need strengthened the most? And it will shift your mindset, because all of a sudden you will feel stronger. You will stop getting that ugly feeling in your stomach. You're going to feel strong and happy about every move you make, and thinking that it's making your team stronger instead of I'm plugging a weak spot. Okay. All right. Can you sit down, baby? So anyway, the next chart here is also found in the Launch to Elite guide, and they call it Launch Your Business Guide. That guide will eventually be on doterra.com. Right now, it's currently in the works. So soon enough, hopefully, maybe by leadership, we will have all these tools in guide form that we can buy from our back office. But for now, I ended up pulling this off of the Launch Your Business Guide. Many of you probably have seen these. Beautiful share success stuff. This was in there, and I love this because it really helps somebody that is getting started. So or even a veteran person, if they just have a challenge deciding where to put people. If you are trying to have a secure, solid leg, helping people build to that 50 and 250 is key. So this, even though it says you here at the top, most of you guys are beyond elite, so this is not you anymore. This you person is your new person you're trying to help. Or maybe it's that third leg that you're still trying to help. That's not quite there. But that person that you're trying to help, that says you, whenever they start enrolling people right away at the beginning, you really want them to really focus on their first couple levels. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to drill down beyond that. And I know I've heard different philosophies, and at one point I thought that was good to stack and to stack people low because you get higher unilevel on the bottom. Don't worry, guys. If you get good builders, that will fill out naturally by itself. You do not have to worry about placing your personal enrollments that far down. So when a person's new, they can capture that 250 bonus with 12 people. Most new people have 12 people in their lives they know that they can introduce oils to. And so whenever you get them in, I mentioned that committed and capable. I love that terminology, because that will help you guide them on where to put those people. So if they go on the top line, they need to be both, like that key says, number one, committed and capable. Committed and capable people go there, not just a user, because that won't long-term be a great fit for that builder. Granted, we are not, mind readers or future prediction. You know, we can't tell sometimes what the future holds with a person. If they come in committed and capable and something happens, that sometimes is out of our control, and we just do the best we can do. But for the time when they're coming in, we really want to just make the best decision we can at that time and just, you know, go with that. And so that first level is committed and capable. Committed or capable, meaning that maybe they didn't show a lot of life as far as what they want to do with doTERRA, but they're darn capable. That person would go on the second level, because if they do change their mind and want to do it, they're not too far down. And then at the beginning, if you have users, if your builder has users, they can plug in their 250, and that's okay to do at the very beginning. And this will show you on the second what that looks like as you expand, because these people were builders. So this is their builder. So the U would have been your builder. Let's just pretend this is your third leg that you're really trying to get solid. So that U is that person, and that gal has 3 of her people. So you can see in the white circles where you put, or where your gal put her people. Well, she will have her builders now because she did put committed, capable people on her top line. They're going to repeat the process. They're going to put only committed, capable people on their top line. They're not, you know, they're not going to worry that you put a user on their top line. I remember at the beginning, I would hear people say things like, oh, you put a user on my top line? Like it was almost an insult. I was like, that's not the best way to think about it. That's really a nice thing if somebody puts even a user on your top line. That's a nice thing. It should not be taken negatively. But if that person's really a builder, they need to find their own 3 committed, capable people. And the people that maybe you or an upline placed on their top line, that is just bonus. And that might help them fulfill that 600 PV requirement. And that is wonderful. So you can see that each person, each builder coming in has to build their own, you know, look for those own committed, capable people. And they don't need to worry about any users that got placed on their top line. Okay, because I hear that sometimes. Oh, well, what do I do with all these people? They put these users on my top line. That's okay. Don't worry about those users. Find your own people. You know, it's okay. So, all right. But this is kind of nice because do you see magically what happens when you find committed, capable people? As they build their 250, oh, darn it. As they build their 250, that builder guarantees her 1,500. And just about any builder can get 12 people enrolled and can fill out a 250. So your 1,500 is completed because of your builders, not necessarily because you have to put people in all those spots. So, okay, now to the next page. All right, so with that, you're probably thinking right now, like, oh, brother, I have users on my top line that have builders under them. And I mean, it can get crazy. Just don't worry. There is not a single structure out there under the doTERRA world, you know, in the doTERRA universe. There is not a single person that has a perfect structure. Everybody's going to have things that they wish they could change. Okay, so it's okay for the most part. If something is what it is, you just have to live with it a lot of times. You know, you go, oh yeah, I wish I would have put that person on my top line instead of my second level or third level, because that's where my builder is. But don't worry, just kind of, sometimes it's best to just let it be and work with them where they are. The Goddards once said, every placement is perfect. Let them grow where you put them and just go with that. There are times when it does make sense to try to change things, but I will tell you, for the most part, it can take a ton of energy away from the true building activity. So I don't highly recommend it. I have personally never done a 7 signature for my own self. I've helped other people, but I've not done it for a move. Now I'm considering it. I'm not saying I'm not considering it, but I've never actually done it because I don't want to be sucked into that. I've seen kind of what can happen sometimes. There is a chance if you try to make a lot of changes, there's a chance they get denied by doTERRA, and then all that energy kind of gets lost. But anyway, I will explain for those who do go, oh goodness, I have some stuff I would like to fix. I will go into that right now as well. So that's why we have this part of the presentation called cleanup. This, like I said, there's easy ways to clean up and there's hard ways to clean up. So I'm going to go through the easy ways first. And I see we got some more comments. I can't see the comments. Hopefully this, if you guys need to ask, you can unmute. Let me know if it's something I need to cover. All right, so here's some easy ways to clean up the tree. Okay, this is easy. The wholesale customer upgrade is one that is an easy way to do, easy thing to do, especially if you've kept their forms. If for some reason you've kept some of those forms in a locked area that did have their SOC, you already have it. You don't have to go back and ask them again. I know there are some people going and basically upgrading wholesale customers, and they're able to move them then. So if you do have wholesale customers that upgrade, it gives you a chance to move them to a different part of your tree. And whenever we enroll a new wholesale customer, we also have the ability to upgrade them. But if they're a new wholesale customer, you have to wait 90 days to do that. If you do it, if they upgrade before the 90 days, they will get stuck on your tree. So be aware of that 90-day protocol, because if you put them into a user spot and they go and, 2 weeks later after you've placed them, they go to you and say, hey, I really think I want to do the business, but you put them in a user spot, tell them to hold tight and not upgrade yet, because you really want to do them justice and yourself and put them into a builder spot, into one of those level 1, level 2 positions. You don't really want a great builder low, if you have anything to do with it. Granted, sometimes that happens, and I do have builders all over. I have some on 3rd, some on 4th. It's okay, you can still grow, but preferably it's always better for everybody if they're higher than lower. Okay, so right now they are phasing people. They are taking existing wellness advocates and phasing them into wholesale customers if they don't have a team under them. And most of you guys have already seen this happening on your back office. So if they were once purple on your tree and they now are green, that means that they've been downgraded to wholesale customer because they did not have anybody under them. They did not have any enrollments. These people would then be eligible to be upgraded to be moved if you found that, whoa, they're in a horrible spot. Another way is if they've been inactive for 6 months. So that's something to keep an eye out for, because there are people out there who purchase, but maybe it's sporadically, but it's still fantastic when that sporadic purchasing is in a key spot rather than in some like a dead leg or something. So if you have somebody that's been inactive, but they do on occasion purchase, if they've been inactive for 6 months, this is a great time to move them. And that email has to come from the person that wants to move, and they just have to email placements@doTERRA with their new enroller name and the new sponsor name of where they want to go. So I see this happen quite a bit, and it's very handy, because a lot of times people enrolled with someone years ago and maybe that builder is not even active anymore at all, and that person wants to be in a different spot themselves. Okay. All right. We also have the placeholder account. And I wish I could see everybody on this one because this is a kind of a newer concept. And I'm going to stop sharing just so we can talk. And I want to make sure I'm seeing the chats as well. Okay, so the placeholder account, has anybody ever used that before here? Maybe not. Okay. All right, so the placeholder account is a fairly new thing. It's not really new, but it's a new concept because remember years ago when people would enroll their spouse because they wanted to move? And then doTERRA said, no, that's not okay. We can't just enroll the spouse and start building under the spouse just because they want to change their spot. Some people, if they, okay, so there's two ways of looking at a placeholder. So if you had someone that maybe enrolled years ago, but they enrolled online because of a special, they got a free diffuser if they enrolled online, and they don't even know who their enroller is, but they want to stay on LRP for some reason. They don't want to go through that whole 6 months deal where they quit ordering and then they move. What some people are doing is they're setting up a placeholder account. That means it will keep their place in this new spot that they want while they drop their LRP so that they can in 6 months transfer into that new spot. Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard of people doing this, but yeah, when someone enrolls and they enrolled, we had, I've never done a placeholder personally, but we had a gal years ago that said she had enrolled online because they were giving away a free diffuser. She never even talked to the person that enrolled her. It was all automatic. She never got anything. She didn't even know her name. She was lost, and her family physician kit never got even used. She had only opened 2 of the bottles, and it had been 3 years since her enrollment. In this case, she could just do an email to placements, reactivate, and move under a new leg. But say she had been on LRP, and she's like, hey, I really want to, I see you guys are doing a lot of great stuff. I really want to be on this team because I have no support. Well, for her to do it through the 7 signatures would be maybe exhausting, and she doesn't even know the upline. So she might want to do a placeholder, and a placeholder is a trusted person that you know that can enroll and hold a spot for you on a team. Okay, so that your account can go inactive for 6 months. You can start getting product under that new spot. And the cool thing is you can start building under that placeholder as well. Okay, that's one way of using a placeholder. The second way of using a placeholder would be that you have 2 builders, but you want to build to silver, so you want a 3rd leg, but maybe a builder hasn't come your way, but you have users that you're enrolling, and you really want to get that silver started. Well, you could enroll a placeholder. Say you just say, hey, grandma, or hey, dad, or hey, what, somebody that's not currently a member can become a placeholder for your silver builder. Say you haven't even met your silver builder yet. That person's still out there, and you're going to find that person. But for now, you would like to start building under a 3rd leg because you don't want to keep building under maybe your 2 legs because maybe you're super strong premier and you don't want to keep throwing your enrollments under there. You're ready to move on. Well, if you don't currently have a 3rd leg, you can put a placeholder in a spot that it has to be a trusted person that is going to be willing to give that spot up, though. That's the kicker. It has to be somebody you trust that will give that spot away, because when you find that person, all you have to do is enroll your new person and have that placeholder sign an account transfer form. Send that account transfer form over to doTERRA, and they will put your new person into that spot. Okay, that new builder can take over that 3rd leg, and maybe you gave it a head start because you've already put 5 or 6 of your own personals underneath. Okay, so that's another way of using a placeholder. hopefully that makes some sense. So, okay. All right, and then I see, let's see, Steph, 7 signatures. Okay. Yes. All right. So I'm not sure if that was in regards to what we were talking about, or if you guys were talking about a different scenario, Steph and Lita, about 7 signatures.
Somebody had asked what you were talking about when you were talking about what is that form that you were referring to, and I said it's called the exceptions request form, and what it requires is 7 signatures for one, and then 3 signatures for the power of 3.
Yes.
Signed by everybody in DocuSign, and then you have to send it in to get that all taken care of, and then doTERRA can bless it or not.
Yes. Yes. And if anybody would like that needs to see that form, I can even go to doterra.com. If I don't know if anybody feels like they would like to see those, where those forms are, raise your hand. Okay, I see Kathy's hand. Okay, so basically real quick, I will just share with you on doterra.com here. Okay, if I can find, okay. Hopefully y'all can see my screen. Okay, just real quick, here's doterra.com, and all you do is go up to our advocates and under forms. And okay, I was just talking about like account transfer, how you can put someone into a new spot. Let's see, where's the exceptions? Where is it? All right, Steph, is it not in this one? Or you can Google it. I've Googled it too. You can find it. Literally, it's, what's that?
I always Google it.
Okay, yes. If you just Google doTERRA exceptions request form, you can find it that way too. But we've seen different people use the account transfer form effectively. That is an easy one. If you have a builder that eventually changed their mind, that doesn't want to build anymore, but you have a ton of people under that builder and you're not willing to let it go because there's too much that you have done to build that group, you can ask that person if they say, hey, I'm done building, I don't want to build. You can ask them if they would mind giving up their spot so that somebody else can have their spot. And you know, Ashley and I were kind of I mentioned that to Ashley today. You know, if someone changes their mind, that's fine. But if they have this huge organization under them that you've helped build, why would you want to call that a dead leg? You know, that you can find someone new to put them into that spot. So, okay.
Quick question about that. How would you handle it if they are consistently ordering 100 PV LRP and are at their 30% back?
Oh, that's easy. Okay, so if you did the math, like if you even took a pen and paper and say they average, we'll go high. We'll be extra generous with them. Even if they ordered 100 a month, say we're going to be generous about this and estimate high. So say they we'll calculate it based on 200 PV a month. Go through, do 200 PV a month. If they had to start at 10% somewhere else on a different leg, because you had, you know, if they gave away their spot in 6 months, they could reactivate somewhere else. So what you do is they would be dropped back to 10%. That is true. So take $200, 200 PV, go back to 10%. See what that difference they would be losing. That means they'd lose 20% free product points on that first order. The second month, they'd lose 20%. The third month, they would lose 20%. That second month, they bump up to 15%. So they would be losing 15% free products for 3 months. And just do the math on it. It's not that much. It sounds like it would be a ton of money, but it's like a few hundred PV. And if you have a few hundred PV sitting in your point bank, you can offer that as a bridge to say, hey, this I know you would lose. I know you don't care about commissions. I know you don't want to build, but I know you would be losing your 30%. Offer up the 300 PV and help them be put into a user position if that's where they want to be. And then you can put a builder in that position at that point.
So when they account transfer, do they still have to wait 6 months before they can go somewhere else? Or if they account transfer, are they out and they can go back in?
They have to wait 6 months. So that is that is one of the drawbacks. So you would have to be prepared maybe to order their products for 6 months on your own account, because you wouldn't want them to lose wholesale. You know,
Could you pop them back? Could you account transfer them into someone else's account, or do they still have to wait the 6 months to be transferred?
they have to wait 6 months to be transferred,
everything.
even into like say you were going to even put them into someone else's spot. It would be 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, but great question. Because there are usually opportunities on your tree that sometimes just having a second set of eyes to look at them, you see, oh my goodness, there's actually so many possibilities right here. And, you know, I can strengthen my tree just by doing a couple little things that would make a big difference. So, okay, very good. All right, well, I will go back to sharing the screen and see we're an hour in. So I want to be, thankfully we'll be wrapping up here in a minute, and then we'll just take Q&A. But those were some easy ways. I will also mention that there, so here's like a tree. This is, you can't see my top line all in one screenshot, but so over here I have on my top line a diamond. I'm somewhere way over to the right. Here's somebody I enrolled like right away within the first couple months. They're a wholesale customer. They're green. Since they're green, that means I can potentially upgrade them and move them. I need to do that. So I need to stop procrastinating and do that, because they are not benefiting anyone here. They could benefit somebody if I put them underneath someone. They could help round out a 600 power PV for the power 3. They could help add volume for somebody's rank. They could also even be getting multiple levels of support. Right now, they only have me. If I place them under a building team, they might be able to get plugged into another person's program. So there are so many reasons why it's better to have a wholesale customer underneath a building team rather than hanging out on your top line. So keep an eye out for these green guys. If they're your personals, you can move them. All you have to do is get them to add that SOC, upgrade them, and you'll have the 14 days to move them. Okay, this is a not so easy way to clean up. And this is what Stephanie was referring to. This is one of those rarities that I wouldn't do I wouldn't go after this as an easy fix, because there's a chance that it will be denied by doTERRA. There is a general limit on this. If the group is ordering more than 1,000 PV, it very likely will not be moved in its entirety. So if you have, say, a little team that fizzled out on you, that maybe even they once were gangbusters. Maybe it was an elite leg at one point and it drizzled, just like went away on you, because there was no active leadership in it. And maybe now it's under 1,000 or right at 1,000. That would be one that you could request. If it's above 1,000, it's going to be less likely to be approved. So this is the one you would need 7 signatures on. That means your 7 upline. That's through the sponsors. So anybody, the spots, it's not through necessarily enroller 7 up, but just where you are on the tree, 7 signatures above. I would recommend, if you know you're going to have more than one of these to do, if you're a leader with a good sized organization, looking at DocuSign.com, because it's a lot easier to get electronic signatures, because literally once you fill it out, you press send, it immediately goes to everybody's email. They just electronically sign it with the little tap of their mouse, and it's done. I have in the past helped people with these in Jeremy. got in his car and drove all over Timbuktu to get signatures. And that is not fun. And no, not at all. So DocuSign is the way to go. If you have something like that's critical for you and you only have one, I would be willing to help you out. But if you know you have more than one, I am by no means great at DocuSign, and I'm administratively like handicapped sometimes. So I probably wouldn't be the best choice. But if you have one, I would be willing to work with you on that. Also, the reason in the description has to be a good one. It cannot be anything but support related. It has to be all about the strength of that group. The support is going to be enhanced. If it's about rank or power of 3, if they see that on the form, they will immediately deny it. Okay, so don't go, oh, but it will help, so-and-so's power 3. I think so. I saw a builder do that once, and we learned the hard way that was an immediate denial. So make sure if you look at that description really well, and it just has to be glowing with how it's going to help support that team by getting these people moved. So, okay. All right. Just a quick, because we are at the hour, and I definitely did not want to go that long on this. I wanted to leave time for questions. But just a couple tips here. This is a motto I have lived by in structure from the very beginning of doTERRA. It's that work 2 steps ahead. And that means if you're an elite, start building and looking at your silver structure. If you're a premier, start really checking your gold structure out. Know what gold structure is. Know who your premiers would be. Know who their executives would be. If you're silver, start looking at your platinum. If you're gold, start looking at your diamond. I put natural underneath before that because that is kind of key. Sometimes we're something because maybe we're buying in or something, and it's really not like, it's not the best thing to think 3 steps ahead, because in that case, if you're buying into a rank, then if you're using this, you would be actually working 3 steps ahead, and that might be too far ahead, because 3 steps ahead might be getting ahead of ourselves sometimes, because we still need to strengthen the current groups we're working with. So just think 2 steps ahead, because whenever you grow, you want it to be easy and fluid and smooth. If we just focused on only our current rank and got it solid as a rock, then that means by the time we're ready to go to the next rank, we would be basically starting from scratch. And I like that rolling start. I like that term of a rolling start. You're not starting from 0. You've got, like, when you're a premier, that maybe you have a director on your 3rd leg. Maybe they got 1,000 PV. Maybe they have 10 to 12 people. That's a rolling start, and that feels wonderful. So I know some people may right now be looking at their structure thinking, oh goodness, I can see why that would be helpful. If you, wherever you are, really start looking at your legs like you are 2 steps ahead of where you are, so that you're building for the future and you're making your path easy and smooth. All right. Okay, and the very last tip here, that the biggest benefit or the biggest help to growing a solid structure is continuing to personally enroll people. And I know sometimes when we're a leader in a business, in our doTERRA businesses, we can get really involved with helping other people enroll people, and we can get down in there, down and dirty, roll our sleeves up, and help our people get enrollments by helping them with classes or with one-on-ones. who knows, 3-way calls, however you do it, but try not to take your eye off of your own personal enrollments. Even if it's just 1 or 2 a month, that makes a huge difference in the long haul. There is an accumulative effect that happens. And I know 1 or 2 a month at a glance might not feel like a lot, because you're like, oh, well, that's just a couple hundred PV. And maybe it doesn't feel like a lot, but the first point here is you're modeling great duplication. If they see you meeting with people at the coffee shop, if your leaders are like, hey, Steph, what are you doing? And you're like, well, I'm at Panera doing a one-on-one. Do you know what kind of message that sends? That's strong. That's a strong message. They're like, oh boy, I better get off my butt and go do that too. You know, they're going to see you and know what you're doing. Don't hide what you're doing too. If you're doing one-on-ones, you know, if someone says, hey, are you busy? Say, yes, I'm at a one-on-one. Make sure you include that. They need to know what you're doing. Also, you're going to continue to help your team advance. If you stop enrolling, that's potential customers that can help strengthen your builders. They might have some holes that they're struggling to fill in. And if you can contribute and match their energy, and maybe they put an enrollment there and you put an enrollment there, that's going to help strengthen that structure. It doesn't have to all come from one source. It's a team effort. Everything's a team effort. Try not to build out someone's entire structure. That gets unhealthy. It's not good long term, but you can match people. If they're working, then you can work. Try to contribute to those who are actively giving energy to their business. Don't fill in a spot that does not have any energy in it, because that's just going to bring you disappointment possibly. So also, number 3, when you enroll, it makes you feel absolutely fantastic. You know, you get that form and it's filled out and you're driving home with the form. Don't tell me that doesn't just make you feel awesome, does it? Makes you feel wonderful. You got this form. So, and you're going home to put it in the system. So that is something you need to keep yourself positively charged in a just, yeah, that positive mindset. Getting an enrollment feeds your positive mindset. The longer you go without enrolling, the more your limiting beliefs start creeping back in. And you start going, well, I'm just not a good enroller. And then all of a sudden, that's what we're modeling. And our energy can be, even though we're not saying it, our energy can maybe be picked up by people. So keep yourself positively charged. And then the last piece, you're helping change lives. Every single person that you spend time with, you are blessing that person. You're helping them get healthier. You're helping them find new ways of living. You know, you're possibly helping them change their complete life around. And you never know whether it's little or huge. You never know if it's going from they no longer have headaches to they no longer have to take pain meds. You know, you don't know the level, and then you never know who you're going to bless financially. You know, and that's another thing we don't want to take away from anybody. Every time we get a personal enrollment, we're one step closer to a builder. That person that you met with at that Panera Bread could be your next diamond. So it ups your odds of finding builders. So never feel like that 100 PV Aroma Touch Diffuse kit isn't a huge deal. It's huge. So that is it. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. Let's see if we have the sales. It feels so good. I think the next builder is at Starbucks. That's very nice. Awesome. Okay, very good. Very good. So that was it. And like you know, like I mentioned at the beginning, this was a higher level training, and I see Kristen's iPad. It looks like she's waving her hand. Kristen, I don't know if you're trying to get our attention or no? Okay. But this was just food for thought, because as we grow, we need to just keep growing our minds. And I could almost do a series of these, because you know what, all I have to do is reach out to you guys and say, what challenges are you having in your structure? And that gives us more to discuss. So everybody has them, and there's always a way to overcome. You know, enrolling is the best way, and, you know, asking for help. But anyway, we're here for you and open for questions now. Let's see, and you're welcome to unmute. Oh, see, I see Ashley's raising her hand, and Lita has a question as well. Ashley?
I just wanted to say one thing about the personal enrollments thing, because there was a period of time where I really kind of let that go by the wayside, and then Emerge came into my life and revolutionized it in so many ways. But one of the ways that it really helped me realize something was that personal enrollments are actually the best way that you can help your team. It actually creates a real sense of teamwork. When I was at convention, went to the Emerge training on how to help your leaders meet their goals, and they outlined this entire mathematic formula to determine, you know, how many builders your people needed to hit their goals and things like that, how many you would contribute and whatnot. So it really defined the number of enrollments. So for example, you know, I have a wellness advocate looking to hit Premier. She needs, from according to the math, 4 builders, which translates into, you know, 4 times 8, which is 32 enrollments. I committed to providing 1 builder for her, which meant that this year I was going to place 8 enrollments underneath of her. And so I have a pretty defined outline of where my enrollments need to go based upon my builders. And so they're continually getting that encouragement from my personal enrollments. I'm doing my part to help them build their businesses, and it's super defined. So it's been really helpful for me with structure. So just something I wanted to share. If you're curious about that Emerge math and you're not sure what that is, I'd be happy to share a summary of that. But it was a really powerful training at convention.
Great. Yeah, that's a great plug for Emerge. Emerge is amazing. It's been wonderful. So let's see. Thank you, Ashley. And Lita, the 2 types of placements. I was confused about the first type of placement. Is that the enroller versus sponsor? Oh no, Karen. I don't know which Karen. Is that Karen Vergara? I've made all the mistakes you mentioned. Oh, I have 2. That's why I talk about them. Because I have seen them myself. Oh, yes. That's okay. That's okay. That's a part of it. That's why that picture of there's no perfect structure out there is very important to remember. Because if you are a type that likes things to be perfect, just know that that's not even possible in our doTERRA structure. So don't worry about it, you know. Yep, Susan said mistakes can be fixed. All right. Okay, well, I'll stop the recording for now. And I don't want to end the meeting. I wanted to stop it.